I'm going to teach you how to ask better questions than 99% of salespeople today. Most salespeople fail not because they don't talk well, but because they don't ask well. They fire off futures, handle objections, and even build rapport, but the real power move? Questions. Freaking questions. The right ones cut deeper than persuasion ever could. So today, I'll teach you how to ask questions that do what 99% of salespeople can't: make people sell themselves. We'll start with step one, the question matrix. Imagine every question you ask sits on a 2x2 grid. On one axis, open versus closed. On the other, surface versus deep. Now, here's the insight. People don't resist being understood. They resist being interrogated. So your real power lies in sequencing. Not what you ask, but how and when you ask it. So here's how the question matrix works. On one side, we have open and surface level questions. I call them rapport builders. An example is, what had you reach out to us? On the second box, we have closed and surface level. I call these fact checkers. An example would be, are you already working with someone? The third box is open and deep questions. I call these expansion probes. An example would be, what happens if this problem isn't solved though? And the final box is closed and deep. I call these decision locks. An example is, would you say this is more of a time or a priority issue? Here's my point. You'll hear a lot of people demonize closed-ended questions. You should never ask them. But the reality is both open and closed questions are powerful if you use them with intention. Open questions are for discovery, expression, connection. Closed-ended questions, though, they bring clarity, qualification, and control to the conversation. Now, here's what pros do. They start surface level with an easy question, and they go deeper and deeper. You start with open-ended questions, easy ones, and then you close with surgical, precision-based questions. So don't marry one question. Master the question matrix. Let's move into step number two, what I call master question laddering. Sales isn't built on information, it's built on permission. And the ladder is how you climb from curiosity to confession. So here's how I define the sales ladder. Think of every question as a ladder rung. Each answer creates emotional permission for the next one. Misuse it and you slip and fall down the ladder. Use it right, and you unlock the next level and their inner world. Now, if we go deeper, people don't tell the truth to strangers, but what they do is they escalate the truth in stages. So our job as sales professionals is to guide them gently, like peeling away layers of an armor. Most reps start way too intense. So what's the biggest challenge right now? What's keeping you stuck? Or they stay very shallow forever. What's your big goal? Oh, okay, cool, we can do that. The real ladder example is something like, what made you start looking at this now though? Which is timeline awareness question. Then you move into, what's been the hardest part of this, trying to solve this alone? That's an emotional reveal question. Then you can ask them, how long have you been carrying all that pressure? This is a self-reflection question. Then you can ask them, what would change for you if this went away? This is a vision shift question. Then you can ask, what's at stake if this doesn't change and you stay with the same problem 3, 6, even 12 months from now? Now, here's the hot tip. Ask, then shut up. Hold the silence. Let them sit with the question. Don't interrupt. The deeper the answer, the more likely they are to commit later. Because what? Because they heard themselves say it. So every yes starts as a whisper, and question laddering makes them say their problem louder and louder and louder. The step number 3 is mastering redirection. Have you ever felt like you ask a great question and they dodge it? That's frame resistance. And if you lose the frame, you're gonna lose the sale. Here's how to combat that. Every question has a dominant narrative driver. I'm not suggesting to bully your prospects, but you either hold your frame or they do. If they avoid hard questions, change the topic, or start interviewing you, they've hijacked the frame. So what most reps do, they chase the answer. Hey, let me rephrase that. Or they over-explain. Well, what I meant with this question was, or they start apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ask you that. Instead, what top sales professionals do is they redirect the frame. So you start with re-asking the question with a softer tone. You're gonna say, that's fair, I'm still curious, what's actually holding you back from solving this sooner though? Then you can also reframe the question as a concern. Sounds like you've been through a lot with this. I would feel the same, but my concern is if this keeps dragging out, doesn't that cost you more? You can also validate and pivot back. Say something like, that's valid. At the same time, if we don't unpack this, it's going to stay in the way of you getting results. So are you okay with me going deeper with you? Then you can use what I call a pattern interrupt. So quick pause here. I'm not here to push anything, but if we're going to talk, let's make it count. So can I ask you something without offending you? This is how you master the frame. It's not being aggressive, it's giving direction with empathy. You don't need to dominate people. You need to lead the story that they're in. Now, there are 4 common pressure points prospects put on you. So here are 4 deflection questions for these typical points. Number 1 is price pressure. Say something like, to give you the most accurate price, what are specific capabilities that are the most important for you? Then you have the timeline pressure prospect. You can say then, well, I understand that timing is important, but what's driving that specific timeline though? Then it's the decision pressure. I want you to say something like, before we rush to the next step, what would make this decision absolutely clear for you? Then you have the competitor pressure. You can ask them, what specific aspects of their solution are you valuing the most, and why haven't you gone with them yet? Remember, you're not there to sell them, you're there to guide them home. And that only happens if they trust your direction. So let's summarize. Use the question matrix to stay intentional and strategic. Use question laddering to go deeper without losing trust. Use redirection to maintain your frame and steer the emotional truth. Here's my point. Sales isn't about clever words, it's about potent questions that drive deep. That kind that make people feel seen, not sold to. And the kind of questions that expose the cost of them staying exactly where they are today. Once they feel that, they buy themselves out. Now, if you want to see how I can master your tonality to become a top 1% salesman, watch this video right here and I'll see you over there.